Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Kenzie's Krimes.
Milwaukee police found body parts in a North Side apartment.
Not because I was angry with them, not because I hated them, but because I wanted to keep them with me.
Believe me, if I started murdering people, there'd be none of you left.
This is evil, what those people have done to me.
The city says Heaven's Gate awaiting.
I'm not guilty.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101 with another edition of Kenzie's Krimes, a deep dive into a murder mystery drama in our area. And myself and Case don't know what Kenzie's bringing to the table, so Kenzie will sit back here and you tell us a story.
Yeah, so 36-year-old Heidi Carter lived in Evansville, Indiana, even though she was initially from the Chicagoland area. Heidi was a boy mom. However, she did not have custody over her children. And she seemed to struggle with being, let me just say, seems to struggle with almost everything, kind of being in and out of jobs, relationships. So Heidi actually had previous issues with the law as well. So in 2017, she was at a friend's house with her dog, and her friend didn't shut the front door, and the dog was able to get out.
Oh, no, that's the worst.
Which is such a bummer. And now she was so mad at her friend that she actually physically attacked her. She then left and came back later, breaking down her friend's bedroom door to attack her again.
Warranted, by the way, when you let the dog loose.
Not really.
I cannot co-sign that.
Once cops arrived and were actually able to restrain her because she was fighting them off, she did receive 54 days in jail, obviously for like that domestic battery. The following year, Heidi was once again arrested for domestic battery, and she was sentenced to a year in jail, but she took a plea deal, and she only had to spend 13 days of that in jail.
Did a dog escape that time, the third time?
I don't think so. I think it was unrelated.
She's just mad.
Yes, a lot of anger there. She also worked many kinds of jobs. So she'd been a car detailer, a repo girl, construction, and she was actually living out of a really rundown motel. During COVID, her friend Jason Harvey lent a helping hand and allowed her to move in. It was a 2-level home where you could live on the top and the bottom. He allowed her to move into the bottom floor. He lived above with his 2 sons. Things started going really well, and it helped stabilize her life a lot. Even as 2 kids really liked her. The only thing that started becoming a problem is Jason didn't like Heidi's new boyfriend, who started coming over a lot. So 46-year-old Carrie Hammond was Heidi's boyfriend. The couple had what many would call a toxic relationship. Lots and lots of fighting, and it was driving Jason insane. Carrie also had a bad history with the law. Jason didn't want this around his kids. Kind of brought out the worst he felt in Heidi as well. And Heidi agreed to not have Carrie over anymore. Unfortunately, this promise was very short-lived, and she had Carrie over a lot and even allowed him to sleep over, as well as having other friends over. Now, Jason worked pretty odd hours, like supporting his family, so he didn't realize that this was always going on, and they were trying to keep the fighting to the minimum. So he was unaware at this time that she was breaking the rule the way that she was. Every once in a while, Jason would do a pop-up and check in to make sure everything was clean, that she was really being a good tenant. Her place, unfortunately, was trashed, and she had limited time to get the whole thing clean because she knew Jason was going to be stopping by doing one of these pop-up checks. Heidi actually reached out to one of her past coworkers, Cynthia, and she said she was willing to pay her to help her clean. She needed to get this done. Cynthia thought it was weird that Heidi had blood on her shoes as well as a gun in her hand, but she still accepted the job.
That is a leap of faith. Let me just say, if Case came to me because he moved recently and said, I need some help moving, and he had blood on the shoes and a gun, I've known him for many years, I'm not going. Something's off.
And that's why you're a giant fake, and you've shown your true colors, and I'm disappointed in you.
Total fraud friend, fake friend.
Fake friend. You don't care about him. Case, I would help you if you're covered in blood.
That's why you're a real one. That's why you're always my favorite on the show.
Yeah.
I love you.
So I am going to pause right there because what Cynthia finds when she goes to this apartment and the fight for her life that then ensues is absolutely insane.
Well, when we come back in 3 minutes, a conclusion to Kenzie's Krimes with Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101 with the conclusion to Kenzie's Crimes today, which just left with a massive cliffhanger. So if you want to catch us up, Kenzie, to see where we're at.
Give a quick catch up for you. Heidi lived in Evansville, Indiana. She really had a troubled life, and her friend Jason offered her the below unit in his duplex, and he lived above, but she had a really toxic relationship with her boyfriend, Carrie. Now, Jason was going to do a pop-up on her place to make sure she was respecting it, to make sure Carrie wasn't over, things like that. And she had to go hire her friend Cynthia to help her clean because her apartment was destroyed. She didn't want to get evicted from this basically free place she was living in. Now, when she showed up to Cynthia's, she did have blood on her as well as a gun, and Cynthia still accepted the job because she needed the money.
And I guess that's what we call a real one. That
That's
would still
right.
go.
I
do that.
suppose. Okay, so Cynthia was shocked. It smelled like feces. There were bugs, mold.
Ew.
There was a blanket rolled up in the corner covered with dirty clothes on it. And Heidi and her boyfriend Carrie kept calling it the Christmas tree. Before they started cleaning, all three of them decided to smoke meth first.
Nothing gets you going on a cleaning binge than a little bit of meth.
You'd rather an upper than a downer. Thank goodness they didn't take Quaaludes.
Oh, no, you're going to get some pizza, you're going to watch some football, you're not going to clean.
If
She
you're on
wasn't
downers.
Yes.
I don't think she was in an environment where that made her hungry. I have to be honest. So during the cleaning, Cynthia was witnessing their violent fighting, okay? She overheard Carrie even say at one point, "I'm going to smash your head in like I did earlier."
Jeez.
She wanted to leave, but Heidi threatened her and Carrie took her phone away. During the cleaning process, Cynthia then heard a woman's voice from a back room. It sounded like she was in distress, and she was asking if she could please be allowed to use the bathroom. Also, when she touched the Christmas tree pile that they kept referring to, she realized it was a corpse.
Oh, no.
Carrie threatened her, and she took off running, and she was luckily able to escape.
Good.
I'd imagine the meth really played a part in them not being able to catch her.
Usain Bolt was big on the meth, always set the record.
I don't think so. I wouldn't say that. So,
Olympic hero Usain Bolt was not on meth when he broke the sprinting record.
No one can run that fast.
He can.
On meth?
hold on. Hold on.
Kenzie, I want to spend the next 10 minutes talking about Usain Bolt.
No.
You hold on.
I have no prep on Usain Bolt.
All right.
Running down the street, she was able to find an off-duty police officer. Thank God.
That was lucky.
She told him everything, and she begged him for his help. He decided to call in reinforcements. If what this woman's saying is true, and there's a trapped woman and a corpse, he's not going by himself. So just after 11 p.m., Evansville officers arrived. Police demanded everyone to evacuate the home. The only person to emerge from the home with his hands in the air was Jason, the duplex owner who lived upstairs, who's probably wondering what the hell is going on. So he comes down, he completely cooperates with officers. Cynthia explains it's the lower tenant, not Jason, the owner. And he says, please, like, my kids are still inside. They were asleep. I didn't want to bring them outside because I didn't know what was going on. Like, what if there's a shootout or something? Officers then see Heidi come out of the house. They searched her and they found a gun on her. They then see Carrie inside. Many times they demand that he step outside, hands above his head. Carrie did come outside, but in a shooting stance, holding an object in his hand, which appeared to be a gun.
Whoa.
Officers shot at Carrie, and he was pronounced dead at the scene.
Good Lord.
Carrie had actually bent a selfie stick into the shape of a handgun. Officers believe he wanted to be shot instead of face the consequences of what they found inside. Officers then entered the home. They found a woman tied up and shackled in the bedroom. The woman was 42-year-old Amanda Seaby. The officers then found the body that had previously been referred to as the Christmas tree. It was Amanda's boyfriend, 50-year-old Tim Ivy. Tim had been restrained.
Wait. The thing they called the Christmas tree, the name was Ivy?
Tim Ivy.
Yeah.
Was the name.
The coincidence?
Yes, it was. By definition, it was a coincidence.
The ivy, the Christmas tree.
Well, there's no ivy on Christmas trees.
But it's still the greenery. It's still in the same greenery family.
Okay, I did not think that would be your takeaway from the last couple sentences.
So far, that's my takeaway from the whole story.
For the show, my takeaway is Ivy is not on Christmas trees.
Okay.
All right.
Tim had been restrained, duct taped, beaten, and strangled to death.
Ugh.
After Amanda received medical attention, that was the survivor that was found in the bedroom, she said that she and Tim had been dating for over a year. They had a fantastic relationship, and they truly did everything together. And what I'm about to tell you proves that they actually did everything together. Amanda had actually met Heidi on a lesbian dating app. Heidi was the one who had reached out to Amanda. Tim liked Amanda on these sites because they would do it together. They were kind of using it as a hookup app for threesomes. Heidi and Carrie had apparently been doing the same thing. However, Heidi, the one who reached out to Amanda, and as they're talking, she said that her boyfriend, Carrie, doesn't want them hooking up. But Heidi kept talking to Amanda despite that. And after several days, Heidi told Amanda she had broken up with her boyfriend, Carrie. But she hadn't. Amanda had very detailed conversations with Heidi about the hookups. Finally, on October 19th at 4 a.m., they agreed to come over to Heidi. Once they got there, they all started drinking, doing meth, partying, and watching sexually explicit content. They then decided to get intimate. However, once that started happening, Carrie came bursting into the room. He was furious. He grabbed a baseball bat and started beating Tim with it. Then he started beating Amanda. Then, with Heidi's help, restrained Amanda and Tim. Apparently, there was already 2 restraints attached to the bottom of the bed. Carrie then physically assaulted Amanda and beat Tim even more. Heidi was yelling words of encouragement through it all. Heidi left for a while. I guess she thought she deserved a break. Tim tried to escape, and Carrie noticed it and then strangled him to death. And that's when he turned into the said Christmas tree. Heidi survived, obviously. Heidi was also taken in for questioning. She blamed everything on Carrie and his anger, and she didn't know what to do. She simply complied because she was so terrified.
Like he reared back, and I just seen this like crazed animal look in his eyes, and man, he's crazy.
Despite Heidi's statement, the testimony from Amanda was undeniable. They also had a 2-hour interrogation you just heard a clip from, filmed, which was filled with inconsistencies on Heidi's part. However, this is a tough case because you're kind of arguing what was Heidi actually thinking. There's no proof it was a setup and that Heidi wasn't necessarily terrified. The first trial was a hung jury. The second trial also introduced new information. Though some Facebook messages from June 2021, Heidi messaged a friend on social media claiming her and her fiance wanted a pet. In July, Heidi sent another message to a friend saying she was a sociopath who liked righteous violence. Heidi was found guilty on all charges and was sentenced to 65 years in prison. She is currently has a dating profile on meetanninmate.com.
No!
If you're interested in Heidi, you can date her.
There's someone out there for everybody.
I hope there's no one for her.
Kenzie's Crimes.
Milwaukee police found body parts in a north side apartment.
Not because I was angry with them, not because I hated them, but because I wanted to keep them with me.
Believe me, if I started murdering people, there'd be none of you left.
This is evil, what those people have done to me.
C says Heaven's Gate away team.
I'm not guilty.
Q101.